Welcome to the Fuel Podcast, where we explore the foundations under extraordinary lives.
The Fuel Podcast is sponsored by the Christopher Swartz team at First Choice Mortgage Advisors. NMLS ID 106583. If you're looking to purchase or refinance your mortgage, make the Christopher Swartz team at First Choice Mortgage your first choice.
And now, here is your host, Chris Swartz.
What's up, everybody? It's Chris Swartz, your host of Fuel, and I am here today with Erica Deuschle. Erica, how are you?
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for joining us.
You bet.
Erica is one of the founders of Keller Williams Mainline, and she is also the founder of Erica Deuschle and Company, one of the largest real estate teams in Pennsylvania. They did over 100 million in sales just in 2020. So Erica, you're definitely keeping busy. Thank you for taking the time.
You bet. I need to update that bio, Chris, because we actually did 150 million in 2021. So I need to get you an updated bio.
150. We're gonna have to get with Amy here and see what she's got. So
I know.
But yeah, so this is why I wanted to connect. I love to connect with people that are doing big things. I've seen you around. You've been on several phenomenal real estate panel events, and you and I really haven't had the chance to connect one-on-one individually. But through the panel, I saw you actually I think you were on a panel tour or something. You were like back to back, like 2 weeks in a row or almost.
It was the world tour.
Yeah, so I meant to get an autograph, but you were so busy. So, but one of the things that just jumped out at me, and as I'm looking for guests on Fuel, we're looking for highly successful individuals that really have that grounded foundation in life. That's what Fuel stands for. Fuel is an acronym for Foundations Under Extraordinary Lives.
Wow.
So
cool.
Yeah, so see, now you didn't even know.
I like that. I didn't know that. I like it.
Yeah, so yeah, it's not just a cool buzzword. Really, we want to meet with people that have that foundation in life, that they've built a successful business, a successful, we have athletes on the show, we have community leaders, and everybody has a story, and that's kind of what we're here to do, is unpack the story, because I'm sure in your world, everybody knows you as Erica, the real estate agent, the team leader, the company owner that sold 150 million in real estate. But we like to kind of unpack who Erica is and talk about the journey that got you to be where you are today, because you're one of the leaders in your field. And I think that needs to be recognized. And also, a lot of people, they don't see the journey, the struggles, and all of the things along the way that get you to 150 million in real estate sales, or to be a top athlete, or to be a community leader. So that's what we want to talk about, and just kind of dive in. I know,
Sure.
One of the things that caught my eye was, and when we can talk about this more later, but your email address was the pineapple, and I'm like, so. We can kind of talk about where the pineapple comes from, but I just want to kind of open it up with talking about, how did you, know you wanted to get into real estate, and what is your passion for being in the real estate business?
Sure. I mean, I grew up with a very, my parents didn't have much, but they always opened up their home. My dad worked 3 jobs when I was a kid, but my parents always entertained. They always found a way to bring people together in their home. They always had a beautiful home, right? They didn't have much money, but their house was always beautiful. And I think I, had a love of home decorating. I would be punished, as a kid to my room all the time for mouthing off, and I would rearrange my bedroom like every weekend. My mom would come in and the whole room would be different. I think that just like my love of design, my love of being with people. I love, entertaining. I love large groups of people. So I think for me, that's kind of how it started. Just my love of home, basically.
Nice. And one of the things too is, did you know that this is that you wanted to be around people and kind of, maybe it's not real estate, but just, did you know from an early age, like, hey, I need to be surrounded and helping people?
So I wanted to be Oprah as a child.
Nice.
I always tell people this, but I would race home from elementary school so I could catch Oprah at 4 o'clock on Channel 6.
Oh my goodness.
I think I just loved how she brought all sorts of people together, how she treated every single person the same, no matter who they were or where they were coming from. And I just think she gave her love to everybody that she encountered. So I actually went to college. I have a broadcast degree. So I thought that I would, be a radio personality is what I thought I would be growing up.
Okay. Did you ever dabble in it? Did you ever?
I did. Yep. So I actually had a classic rock radio show in college called The Stoned Age. I went to East Stroudsburg up in the Poconos. So that was WESS FM. So it was a great radio show. And then I actually did an internship at the Howard Stern Show in 2003 when he was still at K-Rock.
Okay.
So I thought that that's what I would be doing. I thought that would be my way to connect with people. Long story short, met my husband, fell in love, moved to Florida, and gave up the broadcast piece, but found my way back to PA.
Okay.
And here I am.
Nice. Okay. Well,
Yeah.
You and I are from a similar area, for those that are listening, Delaware County. And you know what they say, you don't leave Delaware County, right? Somehow we all just
I tried.
You tried, but you ended up.
But I was really homesick.
Nice. So when you were kind of going through that, and you were in Florida, were you also in Florida doing the broadcasting, or just?
No, I tried. When we first moved to Florida, I tried to get interviews in Jacksonville. We lived in St. Augustine. I just couldn't get an interview. So then it was, some odd jobs. I actually worked for Enterprise Rent-A-Car for the year and a half that we were there. I got promoted to assistant store manager in like 3 months, and people that had been working there for years were like, who's this girl coming down here at 23?
Nice.
My parents had a horrible house fire in the summer of 2005. So that's what made me want to move back home. They pretty much, lost everything in the fire. They were all fine. But my little brother was only 10 at the time. It was like a traumatic time for my family. So I said to Dave, my husband, he was just my boyfriend at the time. I said, I got to move home. And it was pivotal because I'm like, he's either going to stay in Florida where he's always wanted to live, because that's where his dad, that's where he was born, or he's going to move to Delco with me. And he moved with me. So I knew we were good.
Okay. You were good. The rest of the
but I missed home very much.
Okay. And then, so when you got back at that time, you were you faced with like, hey, do I really want to do this broadcast stuff, or I just need?
So it's funny. We moved back within like a 2-week period. That's how quickly we moved back.
Oh, wow.
So Enterprise transferred me to a store in Ardmore.
Okay.
But I came back and I was like, this is not me. It was great when we lived in Florida because I got the lay of the land. I met so many people in that job.
Sure.
But being back home, I was like, this isn't,
right.
Not going to work for me. So I actually cleaned houses.
Okay. I
cleaned houses for a year leading up to our wedding. And then soon after we got married, I started I had gotten my real estate license when our oldest was just a couple months old, and I just jumped in full time.
Nice. And
Yeah.
that had to be a little bit of a scary time because, for those of you that don't know, if you jump into real estate, there's no salary, there's no blueprint, there's no training program. You really are just kind of on your own. And how are you prepared for that? Did you have any support? Did you have any plan, or were you just like, I'll figure it out?
You know what? I wasn't that prepared, but I had a very supportive family. So I knew that if we struggled, we would get a little bit of support. If we couldn't
Nice.
pay we had a mortgage, but I knew if God forbid we couldn't make a mortgage payment, somebody in my family would help us. But Dave was very supportive at the time. And I also knew that I was going to just go balls to the wall and go for it.
Right.
You're
all in, like, no
I was
matter what.
all in. There was lots of naysayers. It was 2009, right?
Right.
So the
nice.
market
Right
was
after the
pretty
crash.
bad, but I didn't know any different. So everyone thought, are you crazy? Well, maybe, but
Yeah.
I just knew that if I jumped in, and I knew if other people could do it, I could too. And I just was very adamant that I wouldn't give up.
Nice.
It was tough though. I mean, I remember we literally had to charge groceries on a credit card my first summer in the business.
It's like,
Crazy.
yeah. And that's really the common thread here, on fuel. A lot of times it's just like, there's no overnight success. There's no, shortcut. I mean, not to say somebody somewhere, didn't find it, but overall, the people that I meet with and I talk with on the show, and honestly and selfishly, I say it all the time, but that's what fuels me. I mean, I love meeting people, hearing their stories, making connections. It's just what I love to do. So, every time I do one of these podcasts, it's like you get to learn, somebody's story and who they are outside of just, what they do. And it's just humbling to see so many people that, really, that didn't have it easy. It wasn't like, oh, okay, I'll just, start a real estate business and then, everything falls into place. It's like you take all these little twists and turns in life and take a lot of risks, right? You're
Right.
charging groceries on a credit card. So
with a baby and a mortgage.
right.
It was a stressful time. I look back now, just with this new kind of market shift that we're seeing, that we're
Right.
we're approaching here, but I'm grateful that I got in when I did. There was such a lack of tools that we have today. I mean, there was no zip forms, there was no DocuSign.
Right.
So I was driving around with a baby in the car, going to people's jobs to get signatures on contracts.
Right.
I had the carbon copy agreement of sale. Crazy.
That's crazy.
But I look back on that. I'm so grateful that, I've been in the business. I'm in my 14th year now, and that might not seem like that long, but the business was so different back then. And I'm grateful for that, because I feel like I learned when things were harder. So I feel prepared for this shift, and I feel excited to teach my team how to thrive, during this new era that we're about to see.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Because I mean, for many of the listeners there know that, my primary job outside of this is I own a mortgage company, and I'm the same way. I got in the business in 2005, and I had my daughter in 2004. So she was a baby. I was young.
Wow.
Had her at 25. So,
Okay.
fairly young, and had an okay career, worked myself through college. And then I thought, hey, this mortgage thing's going okay. Everybody was buying and selling real estate, flipping houses. So I started flipping houses, and I thought I was, the next real estate mogul. And then, I'm quitting my job. I did the whole deal, and the market crashed. I was like, wait, what just happened? Everyone was like, I'm supposed to be, I'm supposed to be set here. I just quit my job, gave up my benefits. And I was the same as you. I didn't know any better. My friends were young, first time home buyers. And so that market was still there when things crashed, and I just kept going. And as we head into this kind of, shift now, I look back and I have people that haven't experienced the shift, or, don't know what's going on, and they're freaking out. And I'm just like, you know what I mean? I'm just like, okay, cool. Like this will, this is go time. This is where we dial it. This is where we dial in what we do.
Exactly.
what separates the big boys and
It's
the big
just
girls.
it's another pivot. It's like when we were faced, in March of 2020, we couldn't leave our houses. How are we going to get stuff done? How are we going to get the 40, 50 some pending deals that we had to the table?
Right.
You just pivot, you make it work. And it's the same mentality of, we have to dive in head first and figure it all out. But it does excite me. It scares me too. Because you get
Right.
used to doing a certain amount of production or making a certain amount of money or, investing a certain amount of money for your team. And you want to keep all that going. So it's a lot to think about, but it also excites me.
Sure. And that's one of the things too. A lot of our audiences, they're entrepreneurs, they're, people that are looking to take their business or, kind of level up in life. And how do you, or what would you say to somebody like that as they're in, whether, we're in real estate world and we're seeing a market shift, but, there's every industry has its own challenges. And what do you say when you're in a position like this and you are the leader and responsible for, hey, do I double down on my team? Do I cut back? I mean, how do you navigate that as a leader?
My mentality just right now is double down as far as what's working and what's not. So investing more into what I know is tried and true.
Sure.
Prime example is yesterday, I canceled I don't want to say the name of the company, but I canceled a mass mailing that I've been doing since the fall and didn't really see a return on it. Thought that it would be great. A lot of people use it. It just wasn't great for me. So now I'm allocating that money into other things that I know are tried and true, that I'll get a better return on. All about investing even more for my team. We worked on stuff a week, 2 weeks ago to really fine tune what we're investing in, lead gen wise, so important. But we have no intentions of scaling back on things that make sense. Absolutely. But
yeah, and I think that's a good point too. It's you just have to look as if you're in a business and things are shifting or the market's down, whatever it is, there are things that do work that you're probably doing, and you can you can look and say, well, hey, these 3 things are really working, these other 3 things are not working so well, or I'm not sure, or maybe just not a fit. So I guess what you're saying is we can kind of peel those back, the 3 that aren't working, we're not sure, and just pour more into what we know is working.
I think when business owners in this kind of a climate can really have a good instinct, that's something that I'm grateful for. Just in business, knock on wood, I've always had very good instincts.
Sure.
As to what to do, what to invest in, just because I feel like I know myself really well.
Yep.
And I think that that's really important in getting through a time like this, is just knowing who you are, what you stand for, what's important to you. And helping my team thrive is very important to my husband and I. So
right. And and you work with your husband, right? You just recently brought him onto the team. So
Dave's been with me. I think it was 6 years in September, this past September. So about 6.5 years full time. Dave actually runs the buyer side of our business.
Okay, nice.
Yep.
So you definitely have that like family feel, that whole, everybody's all in on the business, huh?
Very much so. Yeah.
That's awesome. And how about your family otherwise, outside, as you were kind of coming in the business or in your younger years? I mean, is there any family members that were important and instrumental in just building that foundation as to who you are today?
So my parents, of course, and my one grandmother who, I told her that I was thinking about it and she said, do it, just do it. You can do it. I think some other family members were probably a little weary thinking, oh my God, what is she doing? But she, was very encouraging. But I've always tried to channel I guess, how hard my grandparents had to work, you know, and my parents. So I've always channeled that, and I love to work.
Right.
So that's a plus.
Yeah, no,
I
absolutely.
still love to work.
And that's the key, I think, is to find something that you love doing. And, you know, as you know, many people say, if you love what you do, you'll never work a day in your life, right? You know, Mike says that all the time, Mike McCann, who we've had on the podcast. And you know, it really is true. And sometimes it's tough because there are people that don't get it, and they're like, stop working. Why are you always working? And you're like,
I know.
yeah, but like, I don't like, you know, I look at work and it's like, well, you know, I could be doing some manual labor or working out, you know, something a lot harder than this. Like if I'm having conversations with people and, you know, helping people and doing what I do, it's not, I don't know, it's not that bad. And now since the pandemic, it's super flexible, right? I mean,
Yeah.
like we have a place, you know, we have a place at the beach, and, you know, sometimes I'll set up shop and, you know, start taking calls, Zoom calls, whatever. People are like, wow, why you're working? I'm like, look, I'm not complaining. Like the pool's here, the beach is
Exactly.
like, you know, like this could be worse. So
That's an important thing in this business is, you know, it never turns off, but I don't ever want it to turn off. So it's like this,
right,
you know, thing in my brain where if I'm not crazy busy or, you know, then I'm like, oh no. But I always say, like, I try to not complain because that's why we are where we are. So if we are on vacation at our place at the beach and I have to work, I always remind myself that's why you're here. So it's like that, you know, it's not a struggle. It's just like a mental juggle, like, you know.
Yeah, no, it's definitely, you know, provides all the blessings you have in your life. So, you know, you have to.
I'm still very much in the trenches of selling too. So a lot of people come to me and they're like, God, you've scaled, but you're still, you know, but I love to sell. I love to sell real estate.
You know, that's, you know, as a real estate agent, many people strive to like, hey, I'm going to build my business and then I am out with selling. I don't want to.
No, I still love it. I still love the connection. I still pick every picture for every listing, which is crazy. I still do every listing write up.
Yeah. That's awesome.
You know, so, but I have really good systems in place, very organized. We run a big operation, but it's actually really simple the way we do things.
Nice.
So it all works.
Yeah, no, and I'm the same way. I've been, you know, 17 years in the mortgage business, opened the company in 2018, and I'm still on the front lines having the conversations, you know, when somebody refers a client to me, I have the initial consult and then I structure up the loan options because I love it. I mean, people are like, well, why don't you hire loan officers? Why don't you have more? I just have an amazing back end staff is how we're built, so that the more volume scales, then, you know, once I do what I love doing is, you know, my little niche, then I can pass it to more people behind the scenes. So we're like a unique company in that we don't have a ton of loan officers. We just have a lot of amazing ops staff. And because I'm not going to turn over what I love, you know, and I'm not going to do what I don't love. And that's, you know, hiring a bunch of loan officers. Like, it's just not what I love to do. So it's great that when you can really identify, and I think that's key for anybody listening, like what you're good at and what you enjoy. And even if that's not the norm, like, you know, Erica's, you know, still doing the listing. So you could easily put someone from the team and say, hey, here's what we're going to do. We have these, you could easily do that and remove yourself. Right. But that would take away what you love.
Yep.
So I think,
absolutely.
Well, speaking of what you love, we're going to talk about, as we wrap it up here, the pineapple, right? So what this is like your email address. We've got it on the website. Tell us a little bit about what is this pineapple?
So a pineapple is a sign of welcome.
Okay.
So if you go down south, Charleston, you know, Savannah, you'll see pineapples everywhere. It's like a Southern sign of hospitality and welcome.
Okay. Nice.
So as a kid, my mom had pineapples everywhere.
Nice.
Didn't really know what it was at the time.
You're like, what's
Every year at Christmas, my dad built this board that went up, on top of their front door, and a real pineapple, real fruit, pomegranates, all sorts of things.
nice?
But basically years ago, probably a decade ago, I thought, what could my logo be? So I picked a pineapple, and it just evolved. Over time, trust the process with the Sixers turned into trust the pineapple. We had a lot of clients that started saying trust the pineapple, and then it just grew.
Awesome.
Yeah.
All right. Well,
So
as a huge Sixers fan, season ticket holder, trust the pineapple. I love it.
there you go.
Um,
So that's where it came from.
Nice. Well,
But it's hard to go anywhere and not see a pineapple these days. So
I know now I'm going to be seeing pineapples everywhere.
mhm. Yep.
That's awesome. Well, Erica, it's been such a great time here, just getting to know you a little bit more, sharing your story with our listeners. So as we wrap up, I just wanted to let you know that we didn't prepare you for anything. So we're going to hit you with our fuel rapid fire, which is which are three simple questions.
Ready.
Here's how it goes. And basically, we're going to throw the disclaimer we always do, that we know you would take Dave and your kids and all the loved ones. We're not going to leave them out, but they're excluded. You're stuck on an island. You're going to be on the island for a while, forever. And you have
Forever?
well, hypothetically, you have to pick one person that you would take outside of your friends, family, and loved ones. Could be living, dead, celebrity, anyone that you would take that you would want to be stranded on an island with.
That is so interesting.
How about Oprah?
And it can't be.
You could take
It
Oprah.
can't be Oprah. No.
No Oprah.
I don't know. I mean, she's very pampered these days. So
Oh, okay.
I don't
You're
know
not trying
that
to
she'll
take
have
care of Oprah.
I don't know if she'll have the survival skills. Oh my
Oprah's
God. Wait, can we come back to that
We're
one?
going to come back to it. We got an easy one here. Next one.
All right.
A book that's had an influence on your life that you'd like to share with our listeners.
You're not going to believe it. I don't read books.
Listen, whatever.
I don't read books. I am the queen of the Cliff Notes in high school. I drive myself to Lawrence Park Shopping Center in Broomall
and get the Cliff Notes
and pick up the Cliff. I do not.
Best
read
Cliff
books.
Notes. Best Cliff Notes. You
I don't remember.
All right. What is
0 for 2?
0 for 2. We're gonna go. If we'll switch it up. If you could, we'll throw the book away. Erica doesn't read. No. Oh man.
Don't listen. Jim Onesti has given me, like a handful of books this past year. I'm like, thanks.
They look great on the shelf. They look good on the shelf, Erica.
Oh my gosh.
All right. If you could travel to anywhere in the world, what's on your bucket list?
That's easy.
Where are we going?
Greece and Italy, for sure.
Italy.
Yep. Just because I, have family from both, and that's my dream. I don't know for number one. I'm still trying to think.
All right, we'll go to number 3.
I don't know.
Number 3 is easy. We'll go number 3. Food.
Sorry.
Favorite food that you have to have on the island?
Salmon.
Salmon.
Grilled salmon.
Grilled salmon. I thought you were gonna say a pineapple. Come on.
No.
I teed it up for you. All right.
Some wine. Yeah.
And some wine, no doubt.
And some red wine.
Awesome. All right. Well, we'll let you off the hook for number 1. You can. We'll post it in the notes.
Lame. So lame.
All right. Well, Erica, it was a pleasure having you on the show, and again, getting to learn a little bit more about your business. And for anybody out there listening, if you got something out of this and you were inspired or motivated by anything that Erica shared, please do us a favor, share this on social media, give us a 5-star rating on iTunes. And on that note, we're out.
Thank you so much.